Hello there, friends. Today we're talking about the white dove, the path of softness. Let's get ourselves situated here. Hello there, friends. Today we are talking about the white dove, the path of softness. We just had a white dove today sitting on top of the next building. We have not seen a white dove before. It was actually we've usually seen a pinkish dove, but today we saw a white dove. And the white dove kind of represents Jesus, or the energy of spirit. So it was kind of symbolic to kind of that it came in today as we're doing our Wisdom Wednesday and kind of bringing some awareness to this path, elevating our understanding. And it's pretty nice here. Might be snowing in Norway. It's kind of almost summery feeling. So, but yes, as I talked about the path of softness, it's kind of, you can call it the feminine awakening, which everything kind of is the feminine, because awakening kind of comes from our unconscious part is what awakens. That is where something is awakened within us. It is a state of surrender. Hence, in these days, as we have kind of opened more to democracy, more to our consciousness in general has become more elevated, we are more closer to this first level of awakening. As people become more scholared, they go to school, they learn more, whether it's through school or through internet, all these things. All this stuff kind of elevates your mind because you get more and more input, not just your own ego, but also the input of the surrounding world. So from the surrounding world, you start discovering suffering. It's easier to see that not everybody is perfect, and you're starting to see different systems, different cultures. So in this doing, there's different colors in every country, every culture, almost in every country. So it's easier to kind of take a step back. And that is when you awaken, when you take a step back. So, and that is kind of, the masculine is a little bit like pursuing, you're going towards something. The feminine is a little bit taking a step back. So it is kind of the opposite focuses. When we focus too much on something, we kind of push it away because we don't breathe, we don't relax, we don't enjoy, and thus we are preventing awakening. We're kind of moving it away because we don't necessarily need to awaken. Awakening is not something we necessarily need. We can live perfectly fine without the need to awaken. But now more people are awakening because there is more consciousness, there's more awareness of things. So that is where you can suddenly unconsciously hit that kind of unconsciously or consciously kind of surrender to that to the cruelty of the world or to whatever you're surrendering to, whether it's Jesus or whatever it's a spiritual teacher, whatever it's the world, you can reach a level of awakening. So this is just kind of a level of awakening. It's not, because at this first level, you are still kind of, you still don't have strategies, you don't have the correct teaching. So the correct teaching is where people kind of get stuck because with this first level awakening, it's easy to apply that, oh, you can just focus on yourself and your feelings. The feminine can easily be, you become more filled with feelings, so it's easy to think that, oh, I have just to have to trust my feelings. But these feelings can also lead you astray. So that is where um, this path of awakening also can lead you astray. So more people awaken, but more people can also be led astray because we think we are just going to trust ourselves. We're going to find it out on our own. But that's when we start applying the masculine. So the path of awakening is still the feminine in a way. To go deeper, you can apply the masculine to get to the feminine, but that's usually the first level where you apply and you do a lot, or the second level too, when you, if you have the teaching, you can teach, but then you have to kind of give up the teaching to, you have to surrender to the simplicity of giving, to the simplicity of love. So a lot of paths are more of the masculine, where you kind of put an intention in and you meditate or you do all this stuff for 50 years, and then eventually you kind of give up and you awaken. And then at that level, you might continue by teaching, and then when you give up, your egos need to teach, then you suddenly might continue. So then you're playing between the masculine and the feminine, which is more the body. You're using the energy of the body. You're applying and working against, you're pushing against, push, pull, masculine, feminine. You're doing that constant push, pull. You're working hard. You're burning energy. So this is the path of fire, the path of force. So as we have kind of come to a place where the feminine is more, up till now, the feminine has kind of become more unconscious and the masculine is more the conscious part of ourselves. The feminine is more the unconscious part. That's why a lot of people, when you go to the conscious, you can sense it, but that's why we get lost in thinking that feelings are our guide. We can have the awakening of the feminine of ourselves, but then we kind of need discernment or the correct teaching to kind of allow ourselves to flow, allow ourselves to not put pressure on, but still dare to have faith in the feminine, which is the path of softness. Then from there, you get the Trinity, you get the next level, which is spirit or Jesus or the white dove. So there's a connection between all these three levels that kind of needs to, and spirit or Jesus, it's kind of like you have to allow, you have to move beyond your ego, beyond sin. You have to dare to be saved. You have to dare to receive. So that's where, to come to the third level awakening, you can't use force. It is a non-force. It is a surrender to spirit, which is a feminine energy. God is the masculine energy, then feminine is the spirit. And you can see a lot with your mind, but you can't totally see the feminine because it's still unconscious. So it is a path of surrender. That's why you sometimes need a guru or a spiritual teacher or divine luck, which all these levels of awakening is still needed. Divine timing, divine luck. So it is just as seeing the white dove when most people never have seen one, depending on where you are. But it is seeing the magic in life, seeing that which most people don't see. So that is kind of we're bringing about the awareness of this path, and that is what to kind of become aware of spirit and that the role of this, because to truly awaken in the body and to have a living body, you have life, you are alive, but you can still be in all the drama, you can be in all the pushing against life, judging, anger, all these emotions. But as you peel off the ego, then you realize the non-force, the ease of life, the ease of being, and thus you surrender to spirit, which is not forced, it is received. Thus there is the flow of life, or the ease of life. So this is kind of talked because, or said, because we can kind of go through these stages now as we are done fighting with life, done fighting with each other, done fighting with men or women or cultures or colors. We surrender to the path of ease, the path of softness. And thus, in that softness, our body shifts. It becomes soft and pliable, and your skin and everything can, because you're starting to embrace energy, you're starting to allow energy to flow from spirit and not, that is a level of awareness, a level of being within yourself. So that is what we are doing here. We are reminding ourselves and we're opening ourselves up to that which can totally be done. But in that awareness, we're still preparing ourselves to receive and to kind of allow ourselves to go through the process of letting things pass us by, letting things release, so that we can come to this elevated level of awareness, which takes time because the body needs time to soften. It needs time for bones and ligaments and muscles and nerves to all kind of adapt to this higher level of energy, this vibrancy, this livingness that can live within us. So that's that's what we're talking about here. So and then your body just kind of opens and you kind of relax your shoulders and you close your eyes and you kind of just open to this breath that is like not breathing. It's the non-breath, the no breath. It is just existing as the timeless, beautiful essence of being. And in that space, you connect naturally to your surroundings and realize that you are in your life a perfect symbol of livingness, perfect symbol of life, perfect symbol of beingness, and alive perfectly today as we gradually open up to these different levels of confusion, because the path of awakening is truly a path of confusion, as we can't force and understand our way through it. We have to surrender our way through it. So it's the opposite of what we usually are can do at the beginning levels, where we can kind of like, oh, I'm just doing this thing, I'm figuring out, and I'm creating these strategies and all this stuff, how to do awakening, until you, behind the doing, there is the undoing or the non-doing of awakening, until you reach the white dove, until you reach the level of spirit and start integrating these levels of energy. So let that all go. My words are not necessarily meant to be understood, just like my books are not meant to be understood. They're meant to be open you up to the energy behind the words, which is the wisdom that we carry within us as we kind of gradually awaken. So just close your eyes and just let your shoulders go, let your mind go, let your body go. Drop your hips, drop your knees, drop your ankles, drop your jaw, drop your head, and receive. Receive the wisdom of the golden chalice, the chalice of wisdom that is within us all, within all of life. It is a little God's voice or spirit talking to us, or the feeling of ease. Good. You can come back. Thank you for showing up. And if you show up a little bit later, you will do that. And thank you for your donations. I, of course, appreciate those as well, as we are giving and receiving. I'm giving and receiving as you are giving and receiving. That is the beauty of life. We're doing stuff and we're giving stuff and we are receiving stuff. That is where money is the easiest of teachers. I thought it was goats, but it's bunnies. Yeah, it's we're heading into Easter. We are heading into Easter. I hope you guys have a beautiful Wednesday and a beautiful Easter.